Hey guys, so I am a day late. I'm normally every Thursday, and today it's Friday, and my week just got away from me. If you've been following me on LinkedIn or on Facebook or on Instagram, you already kind of know that things have been shifting around and topsy turvy, and I ended up starting a new position, which is great. So I'm still working with MSPs and enterprises now, and I have moved over from Kaseya to Veriato, which is really cool because it's actually the company, very first, like the first tech company I ever worked at. It's where I cut my teeth. It's where I learned what a WAN was and a LAN and all kinds of fun technical terminology that I never heard of before. And then all of a sudden I knew it. So thank you. What was Spectrasoft and is now Veriato. So now I'm there as the Director of Sales and Business Development. And it has been a whirlwind because I've just been kind of like getting up to speed and figuring out how to build the team out and doing everything that I need to do. So sorry I'm a day late. Anyways, guys, I wanted to kind of come on here and say a couple of things that I've noticed. And it's really weird because I was not expecting this to happen during the pandemic, but it is a really cool shift that I don't know if you have noticed this or not, but if you haven't, here is the really cool thing to notice about what has happened. The current marketplace is going through this crazy dynamic shift, and what's happening is that the talent pool is incredible. Right now, what we have available to us as MSPs, as companies, as members of groups and organizations that are looking for help in any way, if you have the means, now's the time because there are so many people that have either been furloughed or let go or who have left jobs and organizations that it just wasn't a cultural fit because during this pandemic, it seems that people have been doing what we thought they would do all along, which is cut where they need to make cuts so that they can stay solvent. But it has also been making it very interesting out there on the job market. What I've been noticing is that you have people that are very, very, very educated. They're very hungry. They're ready to go out and hit the ground running. And they're ready to take the place of somebody maybe that has been a drain on your resources. I'm not saying that this is everyone and that everybody has that C or D player that they just need to get rid of. Not what I'm saying at all. Not that I'm saying that you have a ton of B and C players, but you do have people out there that are willing to coast or whose heart isn't in it, whose passion isn't going to be playing for you and for your organization. And now's the time to understand it's time to put up or shut up for the employees that are still employed because the talent pool is so vast right now. And I'm not saying to get people at a good rate either. I'm telling you it's time to pay them what they're worth and to get the right people in your organization. It's also the time to possibly, if you have the budget, get somebody in who can motivate some of those B players to maybe have them get to an A player. So it's a really cool dynamic that I'm seeing. And what it's going to end up doing is the cream's going to rise to the top. It always happens. And you're going to have people that are underperforming, either put up or shut up. They're going to move on and do something that they're actually passionate about. And you're going to have a bunch of people available to help you in growing your business. So, guys, while this is not saying go out and fire everybody, don't do that. It is at least opening the door for you to evaluate who you have in your workforce, where you have gotten lazy, where you have faltered on maybe training them, and maybe it's time for a shift or a move. Obviously nobody wants to be fired or furloughed during a pandemic. I'm not saying that that's the way to go, but I am saying if you are in a position to bring somebody on, now is so the time. Again, guys, be respectful, bring them in at a rate that they deserve, pre-pandemic and pre, global freak out. Give them what they're worth and you'll get what you deserve out of them. So a lot of times it's settling or not putting the training time in. Now's the time. We have nothing but time right now. So if you're not doing that, I think that that's something that you should really be putting a lot of effort in. And who knows, you may end up coming out of this with even more business. I think it's also teaching people to evaluate if they need as much overhead as they have been. So maybe less offices, or do they really need that snack machine because nobody's using it? It's also some time to kind of think in terms of where people are going to go after this. You know, some people are going to be wanting to work from home, and from a sales perspective and a marketing perspective, I would err on the side of still having people come into the office, especially if you're training or if you're building a team or if you are putting people together that haven't worked together before. I think it is important to at least have some sort of face-to-face communication, depending on how, I hate to say it, depending on how old the workforce is and where they are in their career journey. I think that that is something that you definitely want to think about. But maybe it's not 5 days a week. Maybe it is 2 days a week and the rest is remote. So it's, you know, little things to think of regarding how to make the most of all of these shifts and changes and the dynamics that are happening in the workforce. I think it's really cool to watch how that's happening. Also, nothing to do with MSPs, nothing to do with small business, nothing to do with medium-sized business, but you all have noticed that I don't have the chair behind me because I stole my daughter's swivel chair, so I'm swiveling right now, because check it out. I started on the big chair. Look at that. It has a back now. You see the back? There's a back. And this is foam, and I think I actually cut it to the point where it'll actually like be a chair again. Just in case you guys were wondering about the chair, because I know that that's serious. Like, you guys have been looking at the chair for the last umpteen weeks. Also, last stop of this video is pretty much just my predictive analysis of what I think is going to happen with everybody going remote and working in this new kind of environment, even as people start coming back to work or as people safely reopen and we're trying to make sure that all of that happens. I have a feeling that we are about to probably see a pretty severe couple of cyber attacks and security breaches. So keep that in mind while you're talking to potential clients, while you're talking to the clients you already have, while you're prepping for safe re-employment and safe return to work and things of that nature. So as we are still kind of modifying the workforce and being able to cover the remote workforce, we also need to start laying the groundwork for coming back. Because they've been remote for so long and they have basically been opening up a bunch of different doors. I just read an article and I actually reposted it on my LinkedIn that, think of it this way, you've got a bunker, and in that bunker under the ground, when you're on premise, right, you have one door. So the only thing that people have to actually focus on and secure is that one door. You've got your locks, you've got your alarm, you've got everything, but you're really just focused on that one point of entry. With everybody going out in the workforce that is out remote now, what's ending up happening is that you've got all these doors and windows and a porch and a revolving door, and then somebody didn't even lock the door. And I mean, you've got all of these other modes of entrance. So we want to make sure that everything is locked down, backed up, monitored, and taken care of so that when people do transition to either a part-time return to on-premise environment or stay completely remote, we're kind of protected in a way of being predictive and proactive as opposed to a reactionary approach, which is a lot of what I see MSPs do. Keep that in mind. I will link to a couple of solutions that I like below. Obviously, you guys know that I like Unitrends from a backup perspective. You know, I know a lot about it. I worked for them for a long time, spanning as well. You've got Datto. There's some cloud-based solutions as well that are kind of like open source. I might steer clear of some of those just because you have to write the code, and I hate to say you sometimes want to be able to point the finger, but you sometimes want to be able to point the finger and have it not be your fault. And then obviously the company I'm moving to is monitoring, which that was my wheelhouse. That's what I was super, focused on for years and years and years. And now I'm back at it. So need any sort of recommendations on best practices, on how to stay compliant, on how to make sure that you are navigating the balance between monitor and trust, but verify what people are doing in a sensitive, HR appropriate manner, but still getting your stuff done. So just let me know on that as well, and I'll link below. I hope you enjoyed my point of view. Don't take it as expert advice. I'm just somebody on YouTube, obviously, but if you like it, go ahead, hit the like button, hit subscribe. Follow me on LinkedIn. I post there pretty much every single day. So I'll link to that as well. And if you want to see any of the resources that I use or that I've used in business or that I recommend for other MSPs to use, that is linked below as well. Talk to you soon.